A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A+. English, that's so much fun. English education for you and everyone, so come along. Learn some grammar, learn a phrase, learn something new every day. Learn the A+ way. Hey, it's time to start the show. Are you ready? Good, 'cause here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A+ English.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to A+ English. I'm Pat.
I'm Elsie.
And we're on part 3 of our story article, How My Parents Learned to Eat. So John is learning to use chopsticks to impress Aiko.
And Aiko was doing something too.
Yeah, she was using knife and fork to impress John. So that's related to our warm-up question. Do you ever eat something in a strange or special way? Talk about it.
你曾经有没有用一种很特别或是奇怪的方式吃东西？ I don't think I've ever done that before.
Nothing that you kind of eat differently? Well, what about Indian food?
Oh,
Right?
I still use chopsticks.
Okay, so you don't pick up the bread and use the bread to kind of either put on the bread, eat it, or scoop it up and eat it?
But that's not strange or special to me.
It's not. No, that is quite normally how you would eat food if you're using Indian bread and Indian curry. One thing to remember, don't use your left hand.
不要用左手。
In India, that's considered dirty, so don't do it. The difficult bit is using one hand, your right hand, to tear the bread.
哦，如果你要把面包撕开的话，用一手，
Right.
左手不能用嘛，这边视为不礼貌。
That's a difficult skill. To just tear this whole
Do you know how to
piece.
do it?
I can do it. It's not as smooth as it would be if I'd grown up doing it. But yeah, that's one way. You have to sort of tear the bread into smaller pieces with your right hand only.
Can I tear it with my right hand and with my mouth at the same time?
Yes, that's kind of acceptable. But if you're going to do it the sort of the proper way, you can tear off bits at a time. So, yeah,
interesting.
that is, I guess, a kind of strange and special way for you guys. You probably haven't seen that too often. But what about John and Aiko? Let's read through today's article and find out what happens.
How My Parents Learned to Eat. Warm-up question. Do you ever eat something in a strange or special way? Talk about it.
Great uncle used to live in England. He took Aiko to lunch at a Western restaurant. He ordered beef, mashed potatoes, and peas. Great uncle showed Aiko something special on the back of his fork. He made a nest of mashed potatoes and peas on it. That night, Aiko's nest of mashed potatoes and peas amazed John. She explained about Great Uncle, and John laughed.
He taught you to eat like an Englishman. Americans eat differently.
He said. John and Aiko married and had a daughter, me. Now we eat with chopsticks and knives and forks in our house. It's easy for me to use both.
Word power.
Order. Order. I would like to order a piece of chocolate cake, please. I would like to order a piece of chocolate cake, please. Nest. Nest. Penny can hear birds singing in their nest in the tree outside. Penny can hear birds singing in their nest in the tree outside. Explain. Explain. I asked the teacher to explain the math problem because I didn't understand it. I asked the teacher to explain the math problem because I didn't understand it. Daughter. Daughter. Betty is the only daughter in her family. She has 2 brothers and no sisters. Betty is the only daughter in her family. She has 2 brothers and no sisters.
认识字汇
Western. Western. Amaze. Amaze. Englishman. Englishman.
So day 3 of our article starts by introducing us to Aiko's great uncle. You know, she went to him for advice. And we see that great uncle used to live in England.
我们要介绍 great uncle 的事情哦。那我们说呢Great uncle used to live in England. Used to 加上原形动词代表的是过去常做的事情，但现在已经不是如此了。所以呢，他以前住在英格兰，现在没有了。For example, I used to have long hair, but now I like to keep it short.
Me too.
我以前喜欢留长发，但现在我喜欢短的。那我们现在先进到 Magic Box 听讲师讲解 used to 加上原形动词，还有 be used to 加上名词 VING， 还有 get used to 加上名词VING 的用法。
Magic Box
回想起奶奶生病前与她相处的时光，就觉得非常的幸福啊！嗨，大家好，小红帽我又与大家见面啦。刚刚不小心太沉浸于与奶奶的幸福时光了。我还记得啊 ，We used to bake cookies and cakes together in her kitchen. 但现在奶奶生病了，这样的机会真的也不多了。I really have to get used to this situation. 好了，难过的事情我们就先别提了。那有发现刚刚用到了几种 used to 的用法吗？当表示过去经常做的行为，可是呢现在不再发生了，我们就可以用到像这样子 used to 加上原形动词的句型哦。就像我一开始说的 ，We used to bake cookies and cakes together in her kitchen. 我们过去常常会在奶奶的厨房里面一起烤饼干或蛋糕，可是呢现在因为奶奶生病了嘛，就好久都没有这样做了。真的希望奶奶赶快好起来哦。那另外一种 get used to 加上名词或是 VING 的用法，则表示呢，从不习惯到习惯的这个过程，代表说，去变得或是开始去习惯于某个事情的意思。I really have to get used to this situation. 我真的呢得开始习惯像这样子的状况咯。最后一种 be used to加上名词或是 VING， 代表呢是现在习惯的事情，或者呢对什么事情已经习以为常的意思。例如说I am used to visiting my grandma every weekend. 我对于每周末探望奶奶的事情已经习以为常咯。当然，这也成了我每周最期待的事情了。好，注意到哦 ，used to 后面接的是 VING， 或者是呢，你要加上名词也是可以的。For example, I am used to noise. 在大都市的环境噪音非常多，可是我已经习惯了。因为小时候呢，常常跟奶奶住在乡下，乡下的环境非常的美丽清幽。其实呢，我也是花了一些时间才习惯这种吵杂的环境。I wasn't used to noise. I spent some time getting used to it. 好啦，各位大哥哥大姐姐们，以上说的各种 used to 的用法，你们都记起来了吗？
Welcome back. So we see that the article continues. He, great uncle, took Aiko to lunch at a Western restaurant.
Western 这个形容词呢，在这边指的是西方国家的或是欧美的，也就是呢 Great Uncle 他带 Aiko 到西式餐厅用餐。那我们有西式餐厅 Western restaurants， 还有 Chinese restaurants 中式餐厅，或者是 Thai restaurants 泰式餐厅 Spanish restaurants 西班牙菜的餐厅。那另外呢 Western 还可以指的是西边的，那东南西北边形容词我们会说 Western Eastern 东边的 Northern北边的 Southern 南边的。
Yeah, a Western restaurant could be anything from European to American. So there's a lot of variety, very different food styles, but knives and forks are used in pretty much all of them. And next we see that he, again, great uncle, ordered beef, mashed potatoes, and peas.
OK， 那我们现在先看看这个 order 这个动词要怎么样去解释咯。Order 在课文当中当动词用，代表点餐、点菜或是点饮料。What would you like to order？ 你想要点些什么呢？服务生可能会这样问你，或者是呢，他会问你说Would you like to order another drink？ 你想要点下一杯饮料吗？那另外order 也可以当作订购物品来解释。For example, I ordered a dress online, but it hasn't been shipped yet. 我在线上订购了一件洋装，但它还没有被寄出。那当然 order 也可以当作下命令来解释。To order somebody around 代表你命令别人去做某件事情。For example, she's very bossy. She likes to order people around, especially her coworkers. 她很爱指使人，喜欢命令人做事，特别是她的同事。那课文例句给的是呢 I would like to order a piece of chocolate cake, please. 我想要点一块巧克力蛋糕，谢谢。
So we order food in restaurants, we order drinks in bars, and in hotels we can order lots more, like order some extra pillows, order an extra bed, things like that. We can also use order when we're talking about shopping online. I ordered something on Amazon or, Shopee or something like that. But what do they order? So we have beef,
牛肉、
mashed potatoes,
马铃薯泥、
and peas.
豌豆。
Okay, very traditional kind of British meal. Meat, vegetables, potatoes. That's pretty traditional stuff. And how do we eat that? The article says, Great uncle showed Aiko something special on the back of his fork.
OK, something special. 一般来说呢，形容词是要放在名词前面的。但如果你碰到像是 something, anything, nothing 等等这些的代名词形容词会放在后面做一个后位的修饰。Something special 指的就是某个特别的东西。所以课文说 Great Uncle 给 Aiko 看他叉子背面上某个特别的东西。那另外给同学们例句咯 I have something important to tell you. 我有很重要的事情要告诉你 I can't find anything good in this shop. 这家店里面我找不到任何的好东西。
Yeah, it does work with the other indefinite pronouns, everything, nothing. So, I have nothing good to eat at home. Or, is there anything interesting on TV?
But what was this special thing Aiko's uncle does?
Well, the article says he made a nest of mashed potatoes and peas on it.
我们知道 mashed potatoes, 马铃薯泥，我们也知道 peas, 豌豆。What about a nest? Let's find out. Nest 这个名词呢，指的是巢或是窝。那很多的动物呢，都有它们自己的巢穴、自己的窝。Nests 巢穴，它们是由这个 leaves and twigs 树叶和树枝建造成的哦。那像是我们有鸟巢 a bird's nest， 也会有松鼠在树上筑巢 a squirrel's nest。那就连 gorillas 大猩猩 alligators。短吻鳄，它们也会筑巢哦。那课文例句说到的是呢 Penny can hear birds singing in their nest in the tree outside. Penny 可以听到外头的鸟在树上的巢里面唱歌。
Right, a nest is where animals, birds, and so on live. So imagine this nest in the article. So the fork is like the branch of the tree. The mashed potatoes is kind of all the twigs and leaves.And the peas are like the eggs in a little house.
所以那个马铃薯泥像是鸟巢一样，然后里面有个豌豆。
Exactly. And we use the back of the fork, like I was saying yesterday in the review time, in England and Europe. In the US, it's a bit more common to switch the fork to your right hand and eat with that.OK,
所以呢 Great Uncle 他就在叉子的背面上用薯泥做了一个巢穴，然后把豌豆放进去。
So both John and Aiko have been training for the big date. Now it's time. The article says, that night, Aiko's nest of mashed potatoes and peas amazed John.
OK, amaze 这个动词呢，代表使人大吃一惊。所以那天晚上呢 ，Aiko 的薯泥、炒血和豌豆让 John 大吃一惊。那这边的 amaze 加上 d 是为了要做过去式。那另外呢，它的第三态过去分词也是 amazed， 还可以当做形容词用，叫做感到惊讶的。所以我们也可以说 John was amazed at the nest。Yeah,
it can be an adjective. John was amazed, something like that, how you feel. And this is the result of someone amazing you in the verb form. So this word does work in several different ways. So do make sure you know whether it's being used as a verb or an adjective. So the story continues. She, Aiko, explained about great uncle, and John laughed.
他不知道说了什么，然后 John 就大笑了。那我们要先学这个字 explain 的用法。explain 这个动词代表解释、说明，所以我们课文说到 Aiko explained about great uncle， 他解释关于 great uncle 的事情。那我们也可以说 he explained why he was late， 他解释他为什么迟到。She explained what had happened last night， 他解释到底昨天晚上发生了什么事情。那如果我们是要向某人解释某事 we explain something to somebody. For example, you need to explain this to me. 你需要向我解释这件事。那如果呢，有人要叫你为自己的行为解释，他可能会跟你说 explain yourself。课文例句给的是呢 I asked the teacher to explain the math problem because I didn't understand it. 我请老师解释这道数学题，因为我不懂。
So we can explain something, we can explain a whole idea. We don't always use about with this verb, but when we have a very specific subject to explain, and that subject is the kind of reason for something, that's when we used about. So we could say, the teacher asked me why I couldn't take PE class today, and I explained about my hurt leg. So I told him about the leg, what had happened, and that was the reason for me not doing PE. That's a good case for using explain about.
所以呢，通常 explain 后面是不加 about 的。那如果你要加上去，代表你要专为某事去做，或是某个人好去做解释。So why did John laugh when Aiko showed him her eating skills?
Well, the article says, and this is him talking, he taught you to eat like an Englishman.
You are an Englishman.
Indeed.
英国人，所以 John 这边就说他教你怎么样吃得像英国人。
Well, Ingwaren and Ingerlanren would be slightly different.
So Englishman means?
Englishman is Ingerlanren.
英格兰人。
Important lesson. Ingwar is Britain. It's the 4 countries of the UK.
Right.
Ingerlan is just England, the one I am from.
对。
Those are different. So someone from Britain could be English, Scottish, Northern Irish, or Welsh. Okay, they would be Ingwaren.
Can I call you a British?
You can say I am British or I am a Briton.
A Briton?
Briton, yeah, Briton. I'm specifically an Englishman from Ingerlan, England. But if I was from Scotland, I would be a Scotsman. If I was Welsh, I'd be a Welshman. If I was from Northern Ireland, I would be a Northern Irishman.
OK， 所以呢，杂志上面的解释我们要注意一下哦，不只是英国人，还特指是英格兰人。
Yes, there is a difference
这个地方的。
between Ingwar and Ingerlan. Okay, now I will often eat this way, like an Englishman in a restaurant, especially. Not so much at home, that relates to the formal thing we talked about. But we also see in the story that Americans eat differently, he said.
美国人的吃法不同。
Yeah, it's more likely they'll change hands, use their fork differently. They won't do the nest thing as much. Some do, especially when it's formal.
正式场合。
Slightly different styles.
OK, so John was an American.
Right, so he eats a bit differently
Yeah.
most of the time. So the article then jumps forward and brings us back to the person who's been telling this story all along. It says, John and Aiko married and had a daughter, me.
OK， 怎么跳得这么快 ？John and Aiko 他最后就结婚，然后有了一个 daughter Me 我。我们来看 daughter 解释。Daughter 这个名词呢，代表的是女儿，那儿子就是 son S-U-O-N。 Pat has a son and he's very cute. Pat 老师呢有个儿子，而且很可爱。那另外呢，我们还有像是 granddaughter， 在 daughter 前面加个 grand， 代表就是孙女。那孙子会是 grandson， 那孙子孙女全部加在一起，不分性别 grandchildren。那父母呢，我们说是 parents， 所以祖父母阿公阿嬷爷爷奶奶是 grandparents， 叔叔阿姨 uncles and aunts， 或你要念作英式的 aunts 也是可以的。表兄弟堂姐妹我们说是 cousins。 那课文例句说的是Betty is the only daughter in her family. She has 2 brothers and no sisters. Betty 是家中唯一的女儿，她只有2个兄弟，没有姐妹。
Yeah, daughter is a nice, easy word there. Well, let's finish the story. We see that the writer, the daughter, says, now we eat with chopsticks and knives and forks in our house.
OK， 所以呢，现在我们家用筷子、刀子、叉子吃饭。
And the story finishes with the writer saying, it's easy for me to use both.
Both 这边指的是 chopsticks， 还有 knives and forks。分2种，就是2种文化的餐具，它都会用。
And that's the end of the article, so let's go to the final review time activity of this unit.
Review time.
Okay, so we've had 3 days of story here. Let's see
3天的故事，我们要干嘛？
how much can we remember?Even from as far back as day 1. Let me test you with a question. What was John's job?
John 的工作是什么？ I know he was an American.
Yeah, in Japan.
In Japan, he was an American sailor.
That's right.
美国的水手。
He worked on a boat, either an army boat or maybe just a selling things, kind of transporting goods boat. All right, question you can ask me.
Okay, who taught John how to use chopsticks?
Okay.
谁教他用筷子？
Who did he learn from? It wasn't Aiko or anyone in her family.
Right, he was so worried and so nervous.
But he went somewhere to practice. He went to a restaurant and a waiter taught him what to do.
对，他很紧张，就跑到日式餐厅去，然后呢，服务生教他怎么用筷子。
But what did he eat to practice?
Do we know that?
We did.
We
The
did?
waiter bought him some food.
No, not beef, right?
It wasn't beef. That's what Aiko used.
Okay, Aiko used beef, mashed potatoes, and peas.
Yeah.
What about John?
Ah,
I seriously don't remember it.
rice. And the other one was sukiyaki.
Sukiyaki, 寿喜烧跟白饭 rice.
That is right. All right, well, we remembered a little bit. Maybe we need to go and read it again. But that's all the time we've got. Thanks for watching, everybody. For A+ English, I'm Pat.
I'm Elsie.
We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
How my parents learn to eat. Warm-up question. Do you ever eat something in a strange or special way? Talk about it.
Great uncle used to live in England. He took Aiko to lunch at a Western restaurant. He ordered beef, mashed potatoes, and peas. Great uncle showed Aiko something special on the back of his fork. He made a nest of mashed potatoes and peas on it. That night, Aiko's nest of mashed potatoes and peas amazed John. She explained about Great Uncle, and John laughed.
He taught you to eat like an Englishman. Americans eat differently.
He said. John and Aiko married and had a daughter, me. Now we eat with chopsticks and knives and forks in our house. It's easy for me to use both.
Word power.
Order. Order. I would like to order a piece of chocolate cake, please. I would like to order a piece of chocolate cake, please. Nest. Nest. Penny can hear birds singing in their nest in the tree outside. Penny can hear birds singing in their nest in the tree outside. Explain. Explain. I asked the teacher to explain the math problem because I didn't understand it. I asked the teacher to explain the math problem because I didn't understand it. Daughter. Daughter. Betty is the only daughter in her family. She has 2 brothers and no sisters. Betty is the only daughter in her family. She has 2 brothers and no sisters.
认识字汇
Western. Western. Amaze. Amaze. Englishman. Englishman.